Alright guys, I'm Clinton, this is Steve. We're back here with YourManZone, and today we have an excellent little challenge that we're going to do.
We're going to be cooking beef ribs, donated by Sunbow. Thank you for sponsoring us, first of all. We have 2 racks of beef ribs. One is not as preferable as the other. We'll deal with that later. The contest is, we're going to cook them 2 separate ways. He's going to take his rack, and I'm going to take mine. And we're gonna cook them. There's no rules as far as how you have to cook them.
They can be smoked, fried, baked, broiled, however you want to do it.
Judging is going to be based solely on taste. We're not concerned about plate, presentation, any of that. We're just going to be tasting.
Judging is done by some non-biased judges this time. My wife and Steve's wife.
And I forgot to tell him, we have our mayor coming to judge as well. Jim Miller, mayor of Saratoga Springs, will be judging our ribs as well. Not putting any pressure on anything, but
yeah,
I added that.
None taken. Alright, so here's how we're going to decide who gets the bigger rack. We're going to flip a coin. I'll flip it, see you call in the air.
Okay.
Okay.
What is it? Tails.
Heads!
Oh.
Boom!
Report. Alright, Clint's going to get the better one. I'll take the small rack, Clint will take the big one.
And we'll be back in 24 hours with judging.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Alright guys, so it's been a couple of hours since Cena and I split up our ribs. As you know, I won the better ones, and now it's time for me to start prepping them. So I've got my cook partner Joseph here, and he's running the camera for me, and he's going to be helping me out. So what I am going to do on these ribs is, as always, first, this has a real thick membrane on it. So we're going to pull this membrane off first. A little piece of paper towel is always helpful, so you can grab it, rip it off a little bit easier. Nice, quick, and easy. You don't have to do much. Next, we're going to trim this up just a little bit. We're going to take a lot of this fat and a lot of this silver skin off. We're not going to take it all off. We're going to leave a little bit of it on there. Gives us a little bit more meat. Joseph, if you have anything to add to this? Alright guys, sorry about that. We lost battery power for a little bit, and I got it trimmed up the way that I want it. There's still a little bit of silver skin, and you can still see some fat down here, but that fat is running all the way through, and I don't want to chop off all of my meat. So we left some of that on. And what I'm going to do is just put a thin coat of olive oil on here first. You can use mustard. You don't even need to use a bonder, but for this, since it's going into the smoker fairly quickly, I want a little bit of a bonder on here. So just put a little bit on the back. Oh. A little bit on the front. You don't need much. And then the rubs that I'm using today are Chris Marks's rubs. They're 3 little pigs. I'm using his Memphis and his Kansas City Championship. There'll be a link down at the bottom of the video where you can buy those. Now on the back I don't do much, I just do a couple of real thin coats. I always start with the Memphis first. Is that one there? And I top it off with the Kansas City Championship. That one right there. That backbone side isn't all that important. What is important is this front. And I'm gonna go significantly heavier on this top than I did the back. Now, Scene doesn't know this, but lying, cheating, and deceiving is encouraged. So I'm going to use what's called a Jacquard meat tenderizer. This one is a 45. It's got 3 rows of 15 blades. And between each layer, I'm going to Jacquard into it. Now, since these are ribs, it doesn't go all that deep. But I'm going to tenderize mine just a little bit. It's going to force that rub down into the meat itself, giving us more flavor throughout it. Again, now I'm to the Kansas City Championship. I'm gonna put a little bit heavier coat on this than I did with the Memphis. The Memphis is kind of powerful for me, so I do a thin coat of that, but I do 2 thin coats of it. There's the Championship, and again with the Jacquard. I go 2 ways with it. Now I'll flip it 90 degrees. I'll go across it again. Now finally, got all this down. I'm going to go over final time with the Memphis.
You're going through the opposite direction, or you're in the same direction of the bones. Go really far down between the bones to break up any tendon. If you want to try it.
You want to try it? Joseph is saying that I need to go further in between these bones. Problem is, it's not going to let me. So with this one, if I had a single blade or a single row, I could have done it. But with these 3, the bone isn't wide enough that I can get down through there. Now, this is where the cheat comes in. This is going to turn out pretty dark, but I'm going to put 1 quick thin layer of this one again. I don't like to do a 4th layer, but I am going to do 1 quick thin one on this just for color. You can see that you don't need much. We already have our rub on it the way that we want. There we go. These are going on the smoker now. Okay guys, this has been sitting for a few minutes. I didn't have a whole lot of time. I'm using a Memphis Pro to cook these on. I'm cooking it at 275 degrees. About to put these straight on, and I go straight onto the grates with this. And the pellets that I'm using right now, this is a backload pellet smoker. I'm using a pecan Jack Daniels 50-50 blend. Pecans on this side, Jack Daniels on this side. Alright, so the blend that I'm using right now is a 50-50 blend for this one. I usually cook my beef ribs over straight charcoal, but I'm changing it up this time, doing over pellet. So to compensate, I'm using this Jack Daniel's blend from Barbecuer's Delight, and I'm using a pecan blend from Barbecuer's Delight. This Memphis has an interesting feature where it has two 9-pound hoppers, and it's blending it evenly as it goes. So that's why I have one on one side, one on the other. Alright guys, it's been a few hours, we're about to check it, and ooh, it's looking really good. You can see how much it's pulled away from the bone. We're not going to wrap these, we're actually going to keep cooking the way it is. We want a real thick bark developing on it. That bark hasn't even set yet, so we still need to let it sit on here for a little bit longer and cook. What I am doing now is just simply probing for tenderness. I'm not looking at timing, I'm not looking at temperature in there. I'm simply probing in between the bones for tenderness. And we're still very, very tight, so I'm gonna shut this lid and let it go for a couple more hours. Alright, okay guys, it's been about 7 hours. I'm about to check them for the last time. I think they're almost done. They're looking fantastic. The bark is set on it. See, as I'm pressing it, it's not coming off. Now we're going to check for tenderness. Again, we're not looking for a certain temperature right now as much as the texture. And it feels just about right. We're hitting right at 198, which is within the temperature I'm looking at. I'm looking at 195 to 200. So we're going to pull these off. You can see how good those look right there. We're going to put them in a pan to let rest for about an hour and a half to 2 hours until we're ready to cook. I'll throw this in a Cambro right away and let it rest until we're ready for the competition. I'm going to beat Scene.
Guys, we're going to cut into our ribs now. This was done on the Big Green Egg. 5.5 hour cook. We took it up to 199 degrees internal temperature. I wrapped it in the paper just so I could try and get my bark to set a little bit more. I haven't looked at it yet. It's looking good. We'll cut into them and give them a taste, see what we think.
Okay guys, Scene just got his out, so I'm about to pull out the winning ones. These were done on a Memphis. They took a total of about 6.5 hours. Unwrapped completely. Look at that bark that's on that. This is what a winning brisket on a stick looks like, or beef rib. I'm going to cut into mine, and then we're going to jump it back to Scene's. So we're going to cut just right through. Ooh, look at that bark. We're going to cut right through mine. Take a look at that. Hey, look at that moisture that's coming through. That's a good looking beef rib right there. So here's mine. This is my plate. Here we go over to Scene. So you know this is what a losing brisket looks like.
Oh, dang. You're in trouble, son. Look at this.
Ooh.
See that?
Oh, that.
Not gonna lie.
That does scare me. Smart man, cutting off that membrane. I wasn't going to say anything. Remember, lying, cheating, and deceiving is encouraged.
Alright, gang. Let's do it.
Choosing A, and I like it because it's more of a, to me, a bold flavor.
I'm staying with A. Same reason as before. Both are really good, but A definitely I think is my favorite.
I'm gonna stick with A also.
I liked A, and then I tried B again, and B was the winner.
So you won B.
I agree. B.
B.
But it had better flavor and it kind of tastes.
Well, it was a hard competition, guys. The results are in. The results were 3-2, and number A, letter A, won.
A was Clint.
A was me. I beat him. Very narrow margin. It's some pretty hard, tough competition. My prize is my favorite drink, Dr. Pepper.